This is ATL Day Ones, part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. And it starts now.
Welcome into ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and Tenitra. Tenitra, I don't know if you can tell or not, but it is draft day, and I am so excited. What's going on with you? How you doing?
Well, I have on my good gear because whenever we have draft night, we dress up like it is a party. So I have on my dress, my attire, as if I'm about to go cover draft night, which I have for the last several years. So, yeah.
And I'm dressed like it's back in 2004 when I finished playing. I was call myself getting ready for the draft, but of course it didn't end up working out. I wouldn't be here if that was the case. But hey, it's okay. So I'm gonna live the dream for at least this first segment, and try to do this segment with my helmet on. But if you all aren't thrown off about what I got on my attire, I want you to go ahead and continue to like and subscribe to our YouTube page, and we are part of Locked On Sports Atlanta. Yes. We're almost about a month in now, and I hope you guys have gotten used to us, and you continue to come back and support. We appreciate you for that. So we got a lot on board today. We're going to finish up our ATL Day Ones mock draft, yes, and we're going to take a little dive into what Terry Fontenot had to say. What did he mean by those comments that he made in the pre-draft presser? And also, nephew is back. That's all I got to say. We're going to get into that. And also for the culture, Peyton Manning did a really good thing for one of his former teammates, and we'll get into all that. But first, the Falcons have a 7th round pick. It is the 213th overall pick. Mm-hmm. And with that pick, who are you taking? I'm
going to give special teams a little nod and go with the amazing punter out of Athens, Jake Camarda. I think he is. You really, it's interesting because when you think about special teams, right, you always think it's an afterthought, and you may think they can get that person off the street. I've heard that comment as well. But there are certain punters and certain kickers. You think back to even Falcons and Saints former kicker Morton Anderson. And when you're able to do the kinds of things they do, or a punter like Ray Guy, if you think about what those type of Hall of Famers are able to do, and you can get someone like that who can help you in the process of flipping the field the way he did oftentimes for Georgia, that's exactly who you want in these later rounds.
No doubt about it, because there is value, right? Matt Bosher, he was a piece. He was a weapon for the Atlanta Falcons for a long time. I don't think Thomas Dimitroff gets credit for that because he is a punter, and people think like, you can go out on the street and find somebody, but when he's averaging 30 yards per punt, like 3 first downs, and there's supposed to be like maybe 1 or 2 added on top of that, you would like, on a professional level, that's when people don't care about punters until they start, until they see an issue, and for the Falcons for you to pick somebody of Jake Camarda's ilk, I think that would be right on par with what the Atlanta Falcons need. Mm-hmm. And, since I know people want to go best player available and all that, but if Jake is sitting there, which more than likely probably would be,
yes,
I think that would be an excellent pick. Now, I think that my pick, though, it is I'm going offense, and I think it's one of those picks that kind of goes in line with what Terry Fontenot talked about. We'll get into that in just a little bit, but I'm going to go with the quarterback out of Texas, not Texas A&M, sorry, Alabama A&M, Akil Glass. Okay. So I get a quarterback, HBCU, Alabama A&M. He's a big kid, super strong arm, and I think he kind of falls in line with what the Falcons really want from that position this year. And that's a guy they can work with. That's a guy they can kind of get into their system, bring him in, have him learn, not really have to worry about having any pressure on him to perform and go out there and play. so soon or before he's ready. And I think he's the guy, the type of guy that Arthur Smith can work with. If he can revive Ryan Tannehill's career, I'm
Mhm.
all for a project quarterback late in this draft. So, but speaking of
And of
quarterbacks,
course, Akil, just to add to that, he is an HBCU, a former HBCU player of the year who has played and stepped up in many important games, including championship games. So that's definitely a positive and potentially good sneak of a pick at quarterback.
yeah, I would love if the Falcons took a chance on the young man, give him a shot because, like you said, the talent is definitely there. He's played in some postseason bowl games as well, and has shown that hey he belongs. So if the Falcons take him in that late round, I would be more than excited to check him out and get a chance to kind of cover him and have some conversation with the young man out of Alabama A&M. All right. Well, speaking of quarterbacks, T. Terry Fontenot and Arthur Smith had their pre-draft press conference a couple of days
Mhm.
ago, and I think there were a couple of comments that I wanted to kind of throw at you that it really kind of was I thought was very interesting, right?
Mhm.
The first one is he was kind of asked about next year's draft, right? Because we know the quarterback class. There's a consensus that the quarterback class this year is not up to the level as the one that's going on next year, and he
Right.
kind of got asked that, right?
Mhm.
And he said the first thing that came out of my mouth was is we have to live in the moment.
Right.
We can't think about next year's draft, and what
Mhm.
that seems to me, it seems like maybe that's why he might be all in the first round to
Mhm.
maybe draft him a Malik Willis,
Mhm.
but it can mean so many things. So what do you
Yes.
hear when he made that statement?
Yeah, I hear that there is flexibility to get a quarterback. I don't know necessarily that I believe that they'll go with that person, with that quarterback in the first round at the top of the first round. But I wouldn't be shocked if, as they're watching the board, if they see a quarterback like Desmond Ritter or Sam Howell out of North Carolina, and of course Desmond Ritter out of Cincinnati. If they miraculously are still on the board, I could see them maybe trading up and trading back into the first round to get that quarterback. I don't know if I see them going with the quarterback at 8, however. But I will tell you this, if they do go at 8, I wouldn't be shocked because we all know that this process has been accelerated by what didn't happen with Deshaun Watson and what did happen with Matt Ryan. So
Right.
that, of course, accelerated us into 2022 and picking a quarterback. But I still feel like he's basically what Terry Fontenot is saying is that there is openness there for it. There's a willingness. And hey, like he said, their board is done, right? They are
Right.
walking into tonight with that board already done. However, he also said that there was flexibility to trade up or trade down, and he's still taking calls.
You know what? To be honest with you, I think flexible is the kind of the way you have to be in this year's draft, right?
Mhm.
Because I think the one thing that stood out last year's draft, pretty much everybody knew who the first three picks were going to be.
Yes.
So
And really the
you
first
know,
13.
yeah, exactly right. Because and if you're sitting there, with the fourth overall pick, and you know exactly who's going to be off the board when you pick, it's just like, oh,
Mhm.
that's easy. I'm
Yes.
good. The first round pick is done. Oh, let's move on to the second round and see
Mhm.
if we can work the phones or, like you said, make a trade or something like that. They end up not doing that, but that's the kind of feeling that you had last year. But this year is
Mhm.
totally different. He
Yeah.
doesn't have. I've seen draft mocks where Kayvon Thibodeau has fell to 8.
Yes.
I've seen where Jermaine Johnson, who I thought would probably be available at 8,
Mhm.
potentially not be available there
Yeah.
because the Jets are rumored to be want to take him at the in the top 5. So
Mhm.
those are all the things that I think he has to think about
Yes.
when going through, who could be available at that moment when they go through their mock drafts, their internal
Mhm.
mock drafts, and I think that it's good to hear that he says that the flexibility is the main key for him because like you have to be flexible when you
Yeah.
have pretty much no clue who's going to be there when you pick at 8.
Yeah, because this year, really unlike the last 2 years, And I think about you mentioned Kayvon Thibodeau as one who may be there, may not be there. Trayvon Walker, another one who has vaulted to the top of the board. But then even in the last 24 hours, I've heard people say he's going to be back and available, possibly high teens. And it's like, my goodness, like how can there be so much flux? But again, I'm sure that is also those backdoor chess matches, right? In the back office chess matches that are happening where maybe people are hearing some buzz here and there, and then maybe other people are just, it's conjecture and people are just going after that because that's what's trending today. So yeah, I'm very interested to see what happens with that first pick and maybe even the second or third pick to kind of set where the rest of the boards go and where the rest of the draft goes tonight.
We will definitely see that. I know I'll be sitting in front of my television. I may still have my helmet on, T, but I may not because it's starting to hurt my head already, and we're only 10 minutes into the show. So, hey, guess what? The Braves lost last night, but they darn sure they won today. They won this morning. No doubt about it. We will talk about that next and tell you why they are winning on ATL Day Ones with Jarvis and T on Locked On Sports Atlanta.